The storm hit Millbrook like an angry fist. Rain hammered the tin roof of Marcus's Webb's auto repair shop while thunder shook the windows. He worked alone as always, grease under his fingernails, fixing another broken transmission. At 28, Marcus had grown comfortable with solitude. Most folks in town saw him as the quiet mechanic who kept to himself. Lightning split the sky, illuminating something strange outside. Marcus squinted through the rain-streaked glass. A figure lay crumpled beside his dumpster, motionless. His first instinct was to ignore it. Probably another drunk from Murphy's bar, but something felt wrong. The shape was too small, too delicate. Another flash of lightning revealed pale skin and strange clothing. Not drunk. Hurt, Marcus grabbed his jacket and ran outside. Rain soaked him instantly. The figure was a woman, but unlike any he'd ever seen. Her skin had a faint silvery sheen, and her hair was white as starlight. Strange symbols covered her torn clothing. She wasn't breathing. "Hey," Marcus knelt beside her, checking for a pulse. Her skin was cold, but not human cold. Something else. Her chest rose slightly. Still alive? He couldn't leave her in the storm. Marcus lifted her carefully, surprised by how light she felt. Her head rolled against his shoulder as he carried her inside the shop. He cleared his workbench and laid her down gently under the bright fluorescent lights. Now he could see her clearly. She was beautiful in an otherworldly way, with high cheekbones and features too perfect to be natural. But it was her wounds that made him gasp. 3 parallel gashes across her left shoulder looked like claw marks. The blood was silver, not red. "What the hell are you?" Marcus whispered. Her eyes snapped open. They were violet like nothing on earth. She bolted upright, scanning the room wildly before focusing on Marcus. Fear filled her expression as she pressed against the wall, speaking in a musical language he didn't recognize. "Hey, it's okay." Marcus raised his hands slowly. "I'm not going to hurt you." She tilted her head, studying him. When she spoke again, her words were broken English with a strange accent. "You. Help me. You're hurt. Those wounds need cleaning." Marcus moved toward his first aid kit, but she flinched away. "No, they find me. They always find me. Who's looking for you?" Terror flashed across her face. "Hunters. They kill my kind." Marcus felt something shift inside his chest. This woman, whatever she was, had been running for her life. She'd collapsed at his door like a wounded bird seeking shelter. Everything logical told him to call the authorities. But looking into those frightened violet eyes, he knew he couldn't. "Your name?" he asked softly. "Zara. I'm Marcus. And right now, Zara, you're safe." She searched his face as if looking for lies. Whatever she saw there made her shoulders relax slightly. Marcus moved slower this time, reaching for the medical supplies. She didn't pull away when he began cleaning her wounds. "This might sting," he warned, dabbing antiseptic on the deepest cut. Zara hissed, but held still. Her blood seemed to shimmer under the lights, clotting faster than human blood should. Marcus tried not to stare, but everything about her fascinated him. "You're not from around here," he said, attempting humor. "No, very far away." Zara's voice grew sad. "My world is gone." Marcus paused in his bandaging. "Gone how?" "Destroyed. By those who fear what they do not understand." The pain in her voice touched something deep in Marcus's chest. He'd always been drawn to broken things, spending his life fixing engines and machines. But this was different. This was a broken person, and the urge to help her felt overwhelming.
"Oh.
You're here now? That's what matters." When he finished treating her wounds, Marcus offered her his jacket. Zara pulled it around herself, breathing in his scent of motor oil and soap. For the first time since arriving, she almost smiled. "You, Marcus Webb," he hadn't told her his last name. "How did you ... your name is on the building?" She pointed to the faded sign outside. "You live alone?" "Yeah, just me and broken carburetors." "Good. Safer for you if no one knows I am here." Marcus made coffee while Zara sat on his old couch. Still wrapped in his jacket, she accepted the mug gratefully, cupping it in both hands like it was precious. When she sipped, her eyes widened in surprise. This is pleasant. You've never had coffee? We have nothing like this on. She caught herself. Where I come from, they sat in comfortable silence, listening to the storm rage outside. Marcus found himself stealing glances at her, amazed by how she seemed to glow softly in the dim light. When Zara's eyes began to droop, he fetched blankets from upstairs. You could sleep here tonight. We'll figure out what's next in the morning. Why? Zara's violet eyes met his. Why help someone like me? Marcus considered the question. Because you needed help? Sometimes that's reason enough. As Zara settled onto the couch, Marcus retreated to his apartment above the shop. But sleep didn't come. His mind raced with questions about the mysterious woman downstairs, whatever she was running from, wherever she'd come from. One thing was certain. His quiet life was about to change forever. Morning sunlight streamed through the shop windows, revealing Zara curled on the couch like a cat. Marcus crept downstairs, trying not to wake her, but her eyes opened immediately. She sat up, alert and wary, scanning for threats. Just me, Marcus said softly. How did you sleep? I did not. Old habits. Zara stretched, wincing as her wounds pulled.
Ow.
Where I come from, sleep means death. Marcus poured coffee for both of them.
Ow. Tell me about where you come from.
Zara hesitated, then began speaking in careful English. My people are called the Nyathi. We lived on Kepler 4 for to be, what you might call a paradise world. Crystal cities that sang with the wind. Forests of silver trees that glowed at night. But paradise made us complacent. What happened? The Dominion came, a race of conquerors who consume worlds like fruit. They feared our technology, our abilities, so they destroyed everything. Her voice broke slightly. I escaped in a damaged ship, barely alive. Your world was the first I found that could sustain life. Marcus set down his coffee. Your whole planet burned. 7 billion souls reduced to ash. Tears like liquid crystal rolled down her cheeks. I am the last. The weight of her loss hit Marcus like a physical blow. He reached out instinctively, covering her hand with his. Her skin was warm now, no longer cold as death. She stared at their joined hands in wonder. I'm sorry, he whispered. No one should carry that alone. Your touch. Zara turned her hand palm up, interlacing their fingers. It does not hurt. Most contact brings pain now, but yours brings peace. Sat connected for long moments until the rumble of an approaching truck broke the spell. Marcus recognized the engine. Sheriff Coleman was making his rounds. Stay here and stay quiet, Marcus told Zara, moving to meet the sheriff outside. Morning, Marcus. Coleman was a decent man, but curious by nature. Heard you had some excitement. Last night? Thought I saw lights on pretty late. Just working on the Patterson job. You know how it is? Coleman nodded, but his eyes drifted toward the shop windows. Funny thing, though. Jerry Murphy swears he saw someone running through the storm last night. Someone unusual. Jerry sees a lot of things after last call. True enough. Sheriff. Tipped his hat? Well, if you see anything strange, you give me a call. After Coleman left, Marcus returned to find Zara pressed against the wall, trembling. He suspects he's just doing his job. But maybe we should get you some regular clothes. Those symbols on your outfit are pretty distinctive. Marcus drove to the thrift store alone, leaving Zara hidden in the shop. He returned with jeans, t-shirts, and a jacket that would help her blend in. When Zara emerged from the bathroom wearing human clothes, Marcus's breath caught. She looked almost normal, except for those impossible violet eyes and the way she moved like flowing water. Better? She asked, self-consciously smoothing the unfamiliar fabric. You look ... double quotes. Marcus struggled for words. Beautiful. Color rose in Zara's cheeks, a faint silver blush. Your species expresses attraction so directly. Among my people, such declarations required elaborate courtship rituals. Sorry if I was too forward. I did not say it was unwelcome. Their eyes met and held. Marcus felt something electric pass between them, a connection deeper than words. But Zara turned away. Moving to examine his tools? May I? She gestured toward a broken radio on his workbench. Marcus nodded, watching in fascination as Zara ran her hands over the device. Her fingertips glowed softly, and the radio hummed to life, playing clear music from a station that had been static for years. How did you do that? My people had an affinity for technology. We could interface directly with electronic systems. Zara looked sad. It was part of what made us dangerous to the Dominion. Over the following days, they fell into a rhythm. Zara helped with repairs using her abilities, while Marcus taught her about human customs. She was a quick learner, fascinated by everything from breakfast cereal to television. In return, she shared stories of her world, painting pictures of a civilization of incredible beauty and wisdom. Your people sound amazing, Marcus said one evening, as they worked side by side. They were, but perhaps too trusting. We believed. The universe was fundamentally good. Zara's expression darkened. We learned otherwise. Not everyone is like the Dominion. How can you be certain? Marcus looked at her directly, because I've seen how you fix things with just a touch. You could have taken anything you wanted from me, controlled any machine in this place. But instead, you ask permission and say thank you. That tells me everything about who you are. Zara's eyes glistened with unshed tears. You see me as a person? Not a weapon or a threat, that is, ... rare. Then you've been around the wrong people. As if summoned by his words, headlights swept across the shop windows. But these weren't Sheriff Coleman's familiar truck lights. These were too bright, too cold. Zara went rigid, her face pale with terror. They found me, she whispered. Marcus moved to the window. 3 black vehicles had surrounded the shop, their occupants hidden behind tinted glass. No government plates, no markings at all. Whatever these people wanted, it wasn't official business.
Back door,
Marcus said urgently. Now. But Zara shook. Her head, resignation in her voice. There is no point in running. They always find me. At least this way, you will be safe. I'm like hell. Marcus grabbed his jacket and keys. We're leaving. Together, Marcus, you do not understand? We'll kill you just for helping me. He took her face in his hands, forcing her to meet his eyes. Then we'd better make sure they don't catch us. For the first time since he'd known her, Zara smiled with genuine warmth. You are either very brave or very foolish. Probably both. But I'm not losing you to whoever those bastards are. Approached the front door. Marcus and Zara slipped out the back into the darkness. Whatever came next, they would face it together. Because some connections, Marcus was learning, were worth fighting for. The abandoned cabin sat deep in the Millbrook State Forest, hidden by towering pines and 20 years of neglect. Marcus had discovered it during hunting trips with his father, back when they still spoke. Now it offered the perfect refuge for 2 fugitives with nowhere else to go. It's not much, Marcus said. Lighting an oil lamp in the dusty interior, Zara moved through the space like a ghost, touching weathered furniture with reverent fingers, his walls and a roof. After sleeping in wreckage for months, it is a palace. I'd been running for 3 days since fleeing the shop. The black vehicles had pursued them through back roads and forest paths, but Marcus knew these woods better than any outsider. Still, the constant fear was wearing them both down. We can't keep running forever, Marcus said, watching Zara examine a spider's web in the corner window. Even in the dim light, her skin held that subtle glow. No, but perhaps we do not have. Forever, she turned to face him, and he saw resignation in her violet eyes. The hunters are patient, methodical. They will find us. Who are they exactly? Government? Military? Worse, Dominion, advanced scouts, masquerading as humans. They arrived before me, integrating into your society while searching for survivors like myself. Zara's voice turned bitter. They hunt us. Not for sport, but for our biological uniqueness. My people's abilities come from genetic modifications made thousands of years ago. The Dominion wants to harvest and weaponize those traits. Marcus felt sick. That's why they want you alive. Yes, my blood carries the complete genetic template of my species. In the wrong hands, it could create an army of enhanced soldiers. She sat heavily on the cabin's old couch, looking fragile despite her otherworldly strength. Perhaps it would be better if I simply don't. Marcus crossed the room in 2 strides, kneeling before her. Don't even think it. You have already sacrificed so much for someone you barely know. I know enough. He took her hands in his, marveling at how perfectly they fit together. I know you're kind. I know you're brave. I know you fix things instead of breaking them. And I know that losing you would break something in me that could never be repaired. Zara stared at him in wonder. Marcus, I love you. The words came out raw and honest. I don't care if we've only known each other a week. I don't care if you're from another planet. I love you, Zara, and I'm not giving up on us. For a moment, she looked stunned. Then tears began flowing down her cheeks, but she was smiling. Among my people, love was complicated, careful, intellectual, but this thing I feel for you. It is wild and fierce and immediate. Is that love? The best kind? She cupped his face in her hands, studying his features like she was memorizing. I love you too, Marcus Webb. Even if it damns us both. When their lips met, it was electric. Literally. Zara's abilities surged through her emotional response. And every light in the cabin flickered to life despite having no power source. Marcus felt energy coursing between them, alien but wonderful. Like touching lightning made safe. Sorry, Zara gasped, pulling back as the lights faded. Strong emotions affect my control. I liked it. Marcus smiled, stroking her glowing cheek. You're incredible. They held each other on the ancient couch as night deepened around the cabin. Zara told him about Naithi courtship rituals involving shared consciousness and neural linking. Described human dating, making her laugh with stories of awkward first dates and romantic disasters. Your species is beautifully chaotic, she observed, curled against his chest. Yours sounds perfectly organized. Organization did not save us from extinction. Her voice grew sad. Perhaps there is wisdom in beautiful chaos. Marcus was about to respond when Zara suddenly tensed, her head tilting like a cat hearing danger. They are close. 2 miles, maybe less. How can you tell?
Ow.
Their vehicles emit a specific electromagnetic signature. My people were taught to recognize Dominion technology from childhood. She sat up, fear replacing the warmth in her expression. We must go now. As they gathered their few belongings, Marcus made a decision that surprised himself. No more running. What? I'm tired of being hunted. They want to fight? Let's give them one. Zara shook her head violently. You do not understand their capabilities. They've weapons that could level this forest, maybe. But they need you alive, right? That gives us an advantage? Marcus checked his rifle, knowing it was probably useless against alien technology, but needing the familiar weight in his hands. And I know something they don't. What? These woods have been my home for 28 years. Every path, every hiding spot, every dangerous drop and unstable ledge. He met her eyes. Time to use that knowledge. Despite her fear, Zara smiled. You truly are either very brave or very foolish. Probably both. But I'd rather die fighting for something I love than live running from it. She kissed him then, fierce and desperate. When they parted, her eyes held new determination. Then, we fight. Together. Together. As headlights pierced the forest darkness, Marcus and Zara slipped out the cabin's back window and into the trees. But this time, they weren't running to escape. They were running toward destiny, whatever form it might take, because some love stories, Marcus realized, were worth dying for. And this was one of them. The Dominion scouts moved through the forest with predatory efficiency, their enhanced sensors tracking every broken twig and disturbed leaf. But Marcus had spent decades learning these wood secrets. Zara's abilities let her sense their pursuers' electronic signatures through the trees. 3 groups, she whispered from their hiding spot behind a massive fallen oak. They're trying to surround us. Marcus studied the terrain below. Canyon Creek ran through a narrow ravine here, with steep walls on both sides and only one way. Across a fallen log that had bridged the gap for years, I have an idea, but it's dangerous. More dangerous than being captured. Point taken, he showed her the path. We cross first, then wait. When they follow, you use your abilities too. Destabilize the log. We'll be trapped on the wrong side while we get to higher ground. Zara nodded, but her expression was troubled. Using my powers so actively will create a beacon. Every Dominion ship within 100 light years will know exactly where I am. How long before they arrive? Hours, maybe less. Marcus took her hand. Then we'd better make them count. They crept toward the creek through undergrowth. They caught at their clothes like grasping fingers. The log bridge was slick with moss and rain, treacherous even in daylight. In the darkness, one wrong step meant a 30-foot fall onto jagged rocks. Stay close, Marcus breathed, testing the log's stability. Halfway across, Zara suddenly froze. They are here. Lights blazed from the forest edge, blinding white beams that turned night to harsh day. Voices called out in perfect English, though Marcus now knew the speakers were anything but human. Zara of the Nyathi, your flight ends here. Surrender peacefully, and the human will be spared. Liars, Zara snarled, but Marcus heard the temptation in her voice. She would sacrifice herself to save him without hesitation. Don't even think. He warned. Marcus, if they take me, they will have what they need to create weapons that could destroy worlds. How many billions will die for my selfishness? And how many will die if the last hope for peace between our species gives up? Before she could respond, the first scout stepped onto the log. In the bright lights, Marcus could see the beings. True form flickering beneath its human disguise, something insectoid and terrible. 2 more followed, their weapons trained on the fleeing couple. Now, Marcus urged. Zara pressed her palms against the ancient wood. Power flowed from her like visible lightning, and the log groaned under supernatural stress. But instead of collapsing immediately, it held. The Dominion technology in the Scout's gear somehow reinforcing its structure. They are adapting, Zara gasped, learning to counter my abilities in real time. The lead scout was halfway across now, close enough that Marcus could see its true eyes, multifaceted and coldly intelligent. He raised his rifle, knowing bullets were useless but needing to try something. That's when Zara made her choice. She threw herself into Marcus, knocking them both off the log and into empty space. For a terrifying moment, they fell together. Marcus's arms wrapped protectively around her. Then they hit the creek with numbing force, the current immediately sweeping them downstream toward the rapids. Are you insane? Marcus sputtered as they surfaced. Trust me, Zara said, her skin now blazing with bioluminescent patterns he'd never seen before. My people were not just technicians. We were warriors when we had to be. The creek carried them. Through a series of small waterfalls and pools, the scouts' lights fading behind them. But Marcus could hear engines starting, vehicles moving to intercept them downstream. They had minutes at most. There Zara pointed to a cave opening in the canyon wall, partially hidden by a curtain of falling water. Can you swim that far? Marcus was already moving, fighting the current with strokes his high school swimming coach would have been proud of. They reached the cave as the first hovercraft swept overhead, its searchlight probing the water where they'd been moments before. Inside the cave, they collapsed on a sandy beach, gasping and shivering. Zara's patterns had faded, leaving her looking pale and exhausted. Using her abilities so intensively was clearly draining her. How long can you keep this up? Marcus asked, pulling her close for warmth. Not long. Each time I access my genetic heritage, I risk burning out my neural pathways. She looked at him with infinite sadness. I am dying, Marcus. Maybe not today, but soon. The modifications that make my people special also make us fragile. Then we find a way to stabilize you. There is no way. Not without technology my people developed over millennia. She cupped his face tenderly. But I am glad I found you first. Glad I learned what love feels like before the end. Marcus refused to accept defeat. There has to be something, some way too. His words were cut off by a new sound, not the mechanical hum of Dominion craft, but something organic and musical. Whale song, almost, but coming from deep within the cave system. Zara's eyes widened. That is not possible. What? That song, it is Niathi. The deep harmonics we used for long-range communication. She struggled to her feet, following the sound deeper into the cave. But I am the last. There should be no one left to sing. Stumbled through winding passages, the song growing stronger with each step. Finally, they emerged into a vast underground chamber lit by phosphorescent moss. And there, tending some kind of crystalline apparatus, was another figure that glowed. With familiar silver light, another Niathi, older than Zara, male, with intricate tattoos covering his arms and the same impossible violet eyes. "Hello, sister," he said in accented English, his voice rich with emotion. "I wondered when you would find your way home." Zara stared in shock. "Cain, your brother lives?" "Do others. Not many, but some. We have been preparing for this day, when the Dominion would finally track you here." He gestured to the crystal device. "Your unique genetics are indeed the key to our people's future, but not as weapons." "I don't understand." Cain's smile was sad but hopeful, as the foundation for a new kind of peace. "Your love for this human has awakened something in your genetic code, an empathy bridge that could allow our species to truly communicate, to understand each other at a level deeper than words." Marcus felt something shift in the cave's atmosphere, a presence vast and ancient turning its attention toward them. "What is that? The Niathi collective consciousness?" Zara breathed. "I thought it died with our world." "Consciousness does not die, sister. It merely ... relocates." Cain's expression grew urgent, but the Dominion is close. If we are to save both our species, the bonding must happen now. Before they breach our defenses. Zara looked at Marcus, her eyes full of fear and hope in equal measure. "The process is irreversible. It will bind us together permanently. Your mind, your soul, your very DNA intertwined with mine. You would become something new. Something between human and Niathi? What are you asking me? To choose love over safety. To trust me with everything you are." Her voice broke. "To help me save two worlds." Marcus thought of his quiet life, his simple dreams, the comfortable solitude he'd treasured for so long. Then he looked at Zara, fierce, beautiful, impossible. Zara, who had crashed into his world like a falling star and set everything ablaze. "I choose you," he said simply, "always." As the first Dominion weapons began hammering the cave entrance high above, Marcus and Zara joined hands and stepped toward the crystal device. Whatever came next, whatever they might become, they would face it together, because some bonds, Marcus understood now, were stronger than death itself. The crystal device hummed with power older than human civilization, its faceted surface reflecting Marcus and Zara's faces back at them like 1,000 mirrors. Cain moved around the apparatus with practiced efficiency, adjusting resonance frequencies and charging psychic amplifiers with graceful movements. "Are you certain?" Zara asked Marcus one final time, her violet eyes searching his face. "Once we begin, there is no returning to who we were." Above them, explosions echoed through the cave system as Dominion forces breached the outer defenses. Time was running out. "Never been more certain of anything," Marcus replied, squeezing her hand. The simple touch sent warmth racing up. His arm, a preview of the deeper connection to come, Cain gestured for them to approach the crystal's base. "The bonding process will merge your consciousness temporarily while rewriting both your genetic structures. You will experience each other's memories, emotions, and instincts. Human adaptability combined with Niathi empathy, the galaxy has never seen such a pairing." As they stepped into the crystal's glow, Marcus felt a tingling sensation start in his fingertips and spread through his body. Zara gasped beside him, her skin beginning to emit that familiar silver radiance. "Remember," Cain called out over. "The growing hum. Love is what brought you here. Let it guide you through the transformation." The crystal flared to blinding brightness, and suddenly Marcus was no longer in his own body. He was Zara, feeling her desperate flight from a dying world. He experienced her months of hiding, the constant fear, the crushing loneliness of being the last of her kind. But he also felt her wonder at discovering Earth, her amazement at human resilience. And the moment she first looked into his eyes and felt something she thought was lost forever, hope, then he was himself again, but not alone. Zara's consciousness twined through his thoughts like music, showing him his own life through her perspective. She marveled at his quiet strength, his willingness to help a stranger without asking for anything in return. The gentle hands that fixed broken things with infinite patience. Their DNA spiraled together in a dance of creation, human creativity. Binding with Nyathi wisdom, Marcus felt his awareness expand beyond anything he'd imagined possible. He could sense every living thing in the forest above, the scouts still hunting them. The Dominion ships entering Earth's atmosphere, but also something else, something vast and patient that had been waiting for this moment. The collective. Zara's voice whispered through their shared consciousness. They're all here. Marcus opened eyes that now held flecks of violet among the brown, and gasped. The cave was full of translucent figures, the preserved consciousness of billions of Nyathi who had died when their world burned. They surrounded the crystal in endless ranks, their faces peaceful but expectant. We are the bridge now, he understood, his voice carrying harmonics that hadn't been there before, between what was and what could be. The crystal's power peaked, and Marcus felt his transformed consciousness reach out beyond the cave, beyond Earth itself. He touched the Dominion ships and felt their pilots' confusion as empathy flooded their weapon systems. For the first time in their species' history, they experienced their victims' emotions. The sensation paralyzed them, but the real revelation came when his awareness found the human government's hidden facilities, where captured Nyathi technology was being reverse-engineered for warfare. Through his enhanced perception, Marcus could see the fear driving both species, the human terror of invasion, the Nyathi survivors' desperation for safety. They're all afraid, he said wonderfully. Fear makes them dangerous, Zara replied, her consciousness still intertwined with his. But understanding can make them allies. Together, they reached out through the quantum entanglement networks that connected all advanced technology. Every computer, every communication device, every weapon system suddenly carried their message, not words, but pure emotion, the feeling of love overcoming impossible odds, hope surviving extinction. Two beings choosing trust over suspicion. The effect was immediate. In the Dominion ships, hardened warriors began weeping as they experienced human courage for the first time. Government bunkers, military leaders felt the depth of Nyathi loss and wisdom. Fear began transforming into wonder, suspicion into curiosity. The sounds of battle above stopped entirely. Kane smiled as the crystal's glow faded to a gentle radiance. It is done. The empathy bridge is complete. Marcus looked at his hands, noting the subtle silver lines now tracing his veins. Zara's skin had taken on a warmer tone, though she still glowed softly. They were changed, both of them, but somehow more themselves than ever before. What happens now? Marcus asked. Now we build a new kind of peace, a familiar voice said from the cave entrance. Sheriff Coleman stood there, but his eyes held depths they'd never possessed before. Amazing what a little understanding can do. Other figures emerged from the shadows, humans and Nyathi working together. Their consciousness gently linked through the empathy network Marcus and Zara had created. Ow. The integration was already beginning. The Dominion fleet has requested permission to land, Coleman continued, his enhanced awareness giving him access to global communications. They want to apologize. Seems experiencing fear and love at the same time has a profound effect on a warrior species. Months later, Marcus stood in the garden behind their rebuilt house, watching Zara teach human children how to make plants grow with gentle touch. The integration hadn't been without challenges, but the empathy bridge made understanding possible, even in the midst of conflict. Regrets? Zara asked, joining him as sunset painted the sky in shades of gold and silver. Marcus wrapped his arms around her, marveling at how perfectly they fit together now. Only one. What? He turned her to face him, seeing his own transformed reflection in her eyes. I waited so long to find you. Think of all the time we missed." She laughed, the sound, carrying harmonics that made the garden flowers bloom brighter. "Among my people, we believe souls recognize each other across time and space. We would have found each other eventually. Promise?" "Promise," she kissed him, and for a moment the whole world glowed with their shared light. "Besides, we have forever now to make up for lost time." Above them, ships from 24 worlds moved peacefully through Earth's skies, their crews connected by threads of understanding that grew stronger each day. The homeless alien who had collapsed at his feet had indeed changed everything, not through conquest or submission, but through the simple revolutionary act of love. And in a small house where a mechanic had once worked alone, 2 hearts beat, in perfect harmony, proof that some connections truly are strong enough to reshape the universe. The end.